In a world where alliances are supposed to be the glue that holds peace and progress together, what happens when that very glue starts to crack? According to Russia's SVR, the cracks are already showing, and they may just reshape the global power play. France and Germany, two of America's oldest allies, are allegedly distancing themselves from U.S. decisions over Ukraine's future leadership. But what does this mean for you and me? This isn't just about leaders in suits behind closed doors. This is about strategy, independence, and the courage to stand alone when truth demands it. So today, let's break down 5 powerful lessons this geopolitical shift teaches us. Not just about nations, but about navigating your own life when loyalties are tested. Just because a relationship has history doesn't mean it has a future. France and Germany's reported divergence from the US over Ukraine's leadership choices, as claimed by Russia's SVR, is a bold reminder of this truth. For decades, these 3 nations have stood side by side as pillars of Western unity. They've fought wars together, made peace together, and built powerful institutions based on shared ideals. But now it appears that shared history is being tested by present-day priorities, and that's a lesson for all of us. In life, we often hold on to people, partnerships, and paths simply because of how long they've been with us. We tell ourselves that loyalty means never walking away, that commitment means never questioning the direction. But what if the direction has changed? What if staying loyal means betraying your own growth? France and Germany may not be turning their backs on the US, but they might be turning toward their own independent interests, something every individual should learn to do. There comes a time when you must pause and ask, is this alliance, this job, this friendship still aligned with who I am becoming? The fact that you've invested years into something doesn't make it the right thing to carry forward. Sometimes history becomes a trap, a reason to remain stuck in dynamics that no longer serve your higher purpose. Just like nations, individuals evolve, and sometimes evolution means separation. France and Germany aren't being reckless, they're being strategic. They're recognizing that blind loyalty can be dangerous, especially when the stakes are high. You must do the same. You must understand that strength lies not in how long you've been loyal, but in how clearly you can see when it's time to pivot. Loyalty should never come at the cost of your truth. And unity without integrity is just silent surrender. Walking away doesn't mean betrayal. It can mean clarity. Challenging long-standing norms doesn't make you a rebel. It makes you real. It means you're thinking critically, not just blindly following. It means you're prioritizing alignment over attachment. That's maturity. So take this lesson from global politics. Alliances must evolve or dissolve. Whether in personal life, career, or purpose, don't be afraid to outgrow the things that once felt safe. Be like France and Germany in this moment, unafraid to ask the hard questions, brave enough to choose what feels right, even if it means stepping away from what was once familiar. Because growth demands decisions, and history should never be a chain that keeps you from moving forward. Powerful decisions often begin in silence. The public usually sees the headlines, the speeches, the breaking news alerts. But by the time those reach us, the real choices have already been made, quietly, strategically, and often far from the spotlight. The reported split between France, Germany, and the US over Ukraine's leadership deal, as claimed by Russia's SVR, is a perfect example. We're only now hearing whispers, but the real moves were likely set in motion long before. And if we pay attention, there's an incredible life lesson here. Not every important move needs an audience. In today's world, we are constantly encouraged to be loud about our plans, our goals, our opinions. Social media pushes us to announce everything before it's even real. We're told to speak it into existence and broadcast every step, but silence has power. There is strength in working quietly, in moving without noise, in planning with precision. Just like governments don't reveal their strategies until it's time, you too can operate behind the scenes as you build something meaningful. The most powerful people aren't the ones constantly talking. They are the ones observing, analyzing, and executing without warning. They don't need to prove their strength with words. They let their results speak, and that's something you can carry into your own journey. When you're working on your dreams, it's okay if no one sees the effort right away. It's okay if you're not announcing every goal. What's important is that you're focused, intentional, and disciplined. Think about it. Most real progress is invisible. A seed grows roots before it ever breaks the surface. Muscles grow in the hours of rest, not just in the lifting. Confidence is built in solitude, not in applause. That's why it's perfectly fine to take your time, to work in silence, and to keep your vision to yourself while it's still forming. The pressure to be seen can destroy progress before it's even strong enough to survive criticism. And don't mistake silence for weakness. Often those who are quiet are the ones planning the boldest moves. Just as France and Germany may be quietly shifting their political stance, you too can reshape your entire path without anyone knowing until it's time to show the results. There's a certain kind of power in that mystery. It's not about hiding, it's about protecting, guarding your energy, guarding your purpose. So don't worry if people aren't clapping yet. Don't panic if no one understands what you're doing. Stay focused. Stay grounded. Let your silence be your strength and your results be your voice. Because just like in global politics, the most impactful moves are rarely made in the spotlight. They're crafted in silence, with strategy, and revealed only when it matters most. Leadership is not about holding on to control. It's about earning and sustaining credibility. The recent narrative, as reported by Russia's SVR, that France and Germany are breaking ranks with the US over Ukraine's leadership decisions, speaks volumes. If true, this isn't just a political rift, it's a deep commentary on the difference between dominance and trust. And it holds a mirror to the kind of leadership that each of us practices in our own lives. When someone leads by force, by demanding loyalty, manipulating decisions, or using fear to maintain order, it may work temporarily, but that kind of leadership has a shelf life. People may comply, but they don't commit. They may follow, but they're not inspired. That's what we're seeing on the global stage. The idea that some nations are beginning to question the direction or dominance of another isn't necessarily rebellion. It could be the natural result of a credibility gap. And that's what every leader of a team, a family, a vision, or even just of your own life needs to understand. You don't lead by shouting the loudest or reminding people of your title. You lead by how you show up, consistently, authentically, and with integrity. When you lead with credibility, people follow you not because they have to, but because they trust you. They know your decisions aren't based on ego. They believe that your direction serves the greater good, not just your personal gain. That's true influence. Think about your own relationships. Are people following your advice because they respect your insight, or just because they don't want to upset you? Are you inspiring action through your example, or just controlling the outcomes through fear or pressure? One brings loyalty, the other breeds quiet resentment, and over time, resentment always finds a way to rebel. The same applies to self-leadership. If you're pushing yourself through guilt, fear, or shame, you might get temporary results, but it won't last. You can't bully yourself into growth. You have to lead yourself with trust. Build routines you can believe in. Set goals that align with your values. Make decisions you can respect even when no one is watching. That's where true momentum comes from. Global power dynamics shift when trust erodes, and personal leadership falters when credibility is lost. The moment people stop believing that your vision includes them, that's the moment they begin to pull away, quietly at first, but eventually, clearly. So check in with yourself. Are you leading with credibility or control? Are your words aligned with your actions? Are your promises supported by your presence? Because just like France and Germany reportedly stepping back from your influence, people will naturally distance themselves from leaders who hold power but lack trust. Real leadership isn't forced, it's earned. And the foundation of that leadership is credibility, not control. The world doesn't pause for permission, and neither should you. According to Russia's SVR, France and Germany are allegedly diverging from the United States in a critical leadership decision over Ukraine. Whether true or not, the narrative carries a deeper truth. Sometimes you have to move with conviction, even when consensus hasn't been reached. You can't always wait for everyone to agree, understand, or approve, because when something truly matters, when your values, your vision, or your future are on the line, you don't need permission. You need courage in life. So many people delay action because they're waiting for everything to align. They want universal support, unanimous approval, and perfect clarity. But the truth is, consensus is rare, and waiting for it can become a trap. France and Germany, if they've indeed made a shift, likely did it despite knowing it would cause waves. That's what conviction looks like. Choosing your next step based on your inner compass, not public applause. You've got to understand this. Alignment doesn't always mean agreement. Sometimes the people closest to you won't see what you see. They won't understand your next move because they don't feel what you feel. That doesn't mean they're against you. It just means your vision was given to you, not them. If you keep waiting for a green light from everyone around you, you'll stay stuck at the intersection of fear and potential forever. Conviction means moving even when you're unsure how it'll be received. It means making decisions rooted in purpose, not popularity. Yes, that's uncomfortable. Yes, it can feel lonely. But all meaningful change starts with someone who dared to act before the world was ready. Don't let the need for group approval hold your dreams hostage. Look at any leader, innovator, or visionary. They all have something in common. They made bold moves at times when others were still debating. They moved before they had all the answers. They trusted their preparation and took the risk. That's not recklessness. That's bravery in motion. You need to apply that same principle in your own life, whether it's a career change, starting a new project, ending a toxic relationship, or standing up for what you believe in. You cannot wait for a round of applause before making a move. The applause comes after impact, not before. And sometimes it never comes. Move anyway. Because progress rarely comes through consensus. It comes through conviction. The kind of conviction that says, even if they don't understand, I know this is right for me. The kind of conviction that can stand alone if necessary. France and Germany may have chosen to break the mold. You can do the same in your own world. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Lead with conviction, not consensus. The world moves forward when brave people decide to stop asking for permission and start walking their path with purpose. Change doesn't start with governments. It doesn't begin in conferences, parliaments, or intelligence agencies. Real change, lasting, meaningful, personal change, starts within. According to Russia's SVR, France and Germany are allegedly stepping away from the United States in a major shift over Ukraine's leadership. Whether fact or propaganda, one thing is clear. If such a shift is happening, it began long before any official statement. It began in quiet thoughts, private reflections, subtle conversations, small internal moments of questioning that grew louder until action was inevitable. That's how all transformation begins. You don't wake up one day and make a bold move without warning. It starts with discomfort, with that small voice in your head saying something doesn't feel right anymore. That's where revolutions are born, not in public, but in the private space of your own heart and mind. And that's where your revolution must begin too. Maybe you're feeling the urge to pivot towards something more aligned, more fulfilling, more honest, but you're waiting for something big to happen first. A sign, a push, a crisis. But what if I told you that your internal unrest is the only sign you need? France and Germany may not have staged a loud rebellion, but if they've shifted, it likely began with personal clarity. You deserve to give yourself that same permission to listen to the restlessness inside you and ask, what needs to change? Too often we wait for external permission to make internal changes. We wait for approval to say, this isn't working. But the truth is, the world around you won't change until you do. You can't expect your environment to reflect clarity if your inner world is full of doubt. Every breakthrough starts with the decision to no longer accept what you've outgrown. Change is messy, it's uncertain, but it's necessary. And it's brave. It's not about rejecting your past, it's about honoring your growth. France and Germany didn't erase their alliance with the US. They're allegedly just realigning their priorities. That's what you need to do too. Reassess what no longer fits. Reclaim the energy you've been pouring into things that don't serve you anymore. Rebuild your life based on who you are now, not who you used to be. This isn't about politics. It's about personal power, the courage to stand alone, if needed, the strength to say, I'm choosing a different path now, even if others don't understand it, especially if they don't understand it. So ask yourself, what's my version of this shift? Where have I been silent too long? Where do I need to stop complying and start aligning? You don't need a major crisis to evolve. You just need the honesty to say it's time, because just like nations, people grow. And when they stop ignoring their inner voice, that's when real change begins. So, as headlines flash and alliances tremble, remember, it's not just the world that's evolving, you are. The same courage it takes for nations to redraw alliances is the courage you must summon every time life challenges your direction. Question: choose and lead with clarity and purpose. Because when the world gets loud, the strongest voices aren't the ones shouting, they're the ones who speak with unwavering truth.